inclusive system on peace and security. But I won't talk about all of that. But then there's management too, and management is reforms in the UN itself, just to try to streamline. And then specifically at country level, we are looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, which every single member state has, signed to, that 2030 would have reached the goals. But we know that's not going to happen, because recently there was, a review of how far progress has been, and we're badly behind with our reaching the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is because of COVID, this is because of all the other polycrises that are happening in the world. So even when it comes to SDG number 10, which is on reducing inequality, that's a challenge. And a challenge not only globally, but a challenge also in Namibia as well. And now when you ask then what we do at the country level in order to be able to try to address issues of inequality, here in Namibia, we do have a program. And it's called the United Nations Partnership Framework. And it's a 4-year, and we align it to NDP 5, we've aligned it to Harambee Prosperity Plan, Vision 2030. And we are saying within that framework, we are looking at issues of economic progression, the whole issues of unemployment, which of course exacerbate issues around inequalities. We are looking at issues of also social transformation. We're talking health, we're talking education, social protection, gender equality, recognizing that these are all, elements which will promote inequalities if we do not look at them as the UN. Environmental sustainability, droughts, we are talking of the floods. How again are we addressing that? And through our partnership framework, this is what we are trying to do as well. And lastly, good governance. We are looking at the issues around data. We've talked a lot about data, the research, statistics, but the point is that if we are using outdated data, that's going to not also help us in terms of our interventions. Interventions being policies and programs. So UN is looking at issues from that broad perspective, but we obviously are not, we are going to provide technical capacities in terms of how do we help the government in terms of the policies, right? How are we helping to in terms of knowledge, sharing knowledge? Because yes, we are not going to pull things from other countries, but what can we learn from other countries which we can adapt to the Namibian context? We are looking at also how do we train, how do we build people in various institutions, not just government, but also civil society. So there's a whole spectrum of things that we are doing. Could we do it better? Yes, for sure. And so I think the point is, yes, we've been around, but the issue then is that are we making that impact? Are we having that dent? And I think this is the point then that we need to work with other partners, because we can't do it on our own. We have to work with governments, we have to work with development partners, we have to work with civil society, we have to work with the entire spectrum of the population. Yes. But at the end of the day, we are led by what the country is wanting for the betterment of the people of Namibia, because it was said by previous speakers that I think putting the human being at the center is what is critical. We can't just have all these policies which are not talking to the real issues of people.
Thank you very much.